I called my wife's friend and asked, "Is Claire with you?" Her answer shook me in a way I'll never forget. It began as a calm evening, the kind where you notice the little things that don't quite add up. Claire had said she was going to a girls' night, something she and her two best friends, Melissa and Tara, did every few weeks. Normally, I wouldn't have thought twice about it. But lately, she'd been distant, different. Our conversations were shorter, her laughter rare, and her phone never left her hand. That night, she left in a rush, dressed nicer than usual for a casual hangout. She said, "Don't wait up," kissed my cheek, and hurried out before I could even respond. An hour passed, then two. Something deep inside whispered that something wasn't right. I'd ignored that voice for months, convincing myself that love meant trust, and trust meant silence. But silence was starting to feel like foolishness. At 10:17 p.m., I finally picked up my phone and called Melissa. She answered on the second ring, her tone cautious. "Hey, Mark," she said. "What's up?" I tried to sound casual. "Hey, is Claire with you guys?" There was a pause. Not the distracted kind, more like the one where someone's trying to figure out what to say. Then Melissa said, Yeah, of course. We're just having drinks." I could hear background noise, muffled music, and a faint male voice. Something about it didn't fit. "Which place did you guys go to again?" I asked, pretending to have forgotten. Another pause. "You know, that bar downtown. The one with the rooftop." We'd been there before. It never played music that loud. My heart began to race. "Right," I said quietly. "Tell Claire I called. She left her ring here." There was another pause. Then Melissa said something that made my stomach sink. "Oh yeah. Okay. I'll tell her when she gets back." When she gets back. She wasn't even with them. For a few seconds, I just stared at my phone, feeling the air in the room shift. It wasn't the kind of realization that explodes. It just sinks into your bones, heavy and permanent. I didn't call Claire. I didn't text her. I didn't want to tip her off. Instead, I sat there watching the clock creep toward midnight. At 12:43 a.m., I heard the front door open, the sound of keys hitting the counter. I stayed on the couch, pretending to scroll through my phone. She walked in smelling faintly of perfume and something that wasn't hers. "Hey," she said, her tone light, almost forced. "You're still up?" "Yeah," I said. "How was it?" "Fun. Just drinks, nothing crazy." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I looked at her for a long moment, memorizing the details, the faint smudge of lipstick, the slightly messy hair, the nervous way her hands played with her purse strap. "Melissa told me you'd be back soon," I said softly. Her eyes flickered. Just for a second, but enough. "Oh, you talked to her?" "Yeah, around 10. Just wanted to check if you got there safely." "Oh." She blinked fast, searching for words. "Yeah, we were just getting started then." She turned away quickly, heading down the hallway. I'm exhausted. Long night. I watched her go. Something in me broke quietly, not from anger, not even betrayal, but from realizing that whatever we had was now hollow. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stayed up until the sun rose, the weight of truth pressing down like a slow storm. The next day, I didn't confront her. I made coffee, kissed her cheek like always, and watched her walk out the door. But before she reached her car, I took out my phone and dialed a number I never thought I would. It wasn't Melissa this time. It was Tara, Claire's other close friend, the one who never liked lying. She answered after a few rings, her voice groggy. "Hey, Mark. Everything okay?" "I just wanted to ask," I said calmly. "Did you all hang out last night?" There was silence. A long, heavy silence. Then Tara sighed. "I'm sorry, Mark. I don't want to be in the middle of this." That told me everything. I thanked her quietly and ended the call. I didn't need more details. Sometimes silence says louder things than any confession ever could. The truth was clear. Claire wasn't a girls' night. And whoever she was with, she wanted to keep it hidden. For the next week, I pretended nothing had changed. I went to work, came home, cooked dinner, and smiled when she smiled. I needed time. Not to forgive, but to understand how long I'd been living inside a lie. Every night, she came home late, smelling faintly of cologne that wasn't mine. Her phone was always face down, her laughter short and distracted. I started realizing the distance wasn't new. It had been there for months. I'd just been too hopeful to see it. On Friday night, she said she was heading to yoga. It was 8 p.m. I nodded, told her to drive safe, and watched her car disappear down the street. 10 minutes later, I followed. It wasn't a dramatic chase, just quiet observation. I stayed 2 cars behind, headlights dimmed. She didn't go anywhere near the gym. She drove across town to a dimly lit street where a small Italian restaurant sat tucked between apartments. She parked. A few minutes later, a man stepped out of the restaurant. She smiled, that same smile she used to give me. They hugged like it was familiar, easy. Then they walked inside together. I didn't get angry. I didn't cry. I just sat there, watching, realizing this, whatever it was, had probably been happening for months. I drove home quietly. The house felt foreign when I stepped inside. I went into our bedroom and looked around at everything that once meant something. Our wedding photo, the souvenirs, the little notes she used to leave. They all looked staged now. Props from a love story that had already ended. That night I wrote her a note, not out of rage, but because I needed to say what words had been choking inside me. Claire, I don't know when we stopped being honest with each other. Maybe it was slow. Maybe it was sudden. I called Melissa that night because I wanted to believe you were where you said you'd be. Her hesitation told me the truth before you ever could. I saw you tonight. Don't worry, I didn't confront you. I don't want to fight. I just want peace, something we lost along the way. When you read this, I'll be gone. I won't take anything that's yours. Please don't call or explain. I already understand more than you think. Mark. I folded the letter, placed it beside her favorite mug on the kitchen counter, and left the house just before dawn. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't post about it. I simply disappeared from the version of life that kept breaking me. A few days later, she tried calling, 12 missed calls, 2 voicemails filled with half-truths and tears. I didn't answer. Closure doesn't always come from conversation. Sometimes it comes from silence. Weeks passed. I rented a small apartment near the coast. Every morning, I walked along the shore, letting the waves wash away the noise that had filled my head for so long. People say heartbreak is loud, but mine wasn't. It was quiet, almost peaceful, like the sound of a door closing softly behind you when you know you're never walking back in. One evening, I got a text from an unknown number. It was a photo, our wedding day. Beneath it, just 4 words. I miss who we were. I stared at it for a long time before deleting it, because the truth was I missed that version too. But she no longer existed, and neither did the man who used to beg for love that had already left the room.